Welcome to Panels and Borders, everyone. My name is Dominic, and this is a series I'm doing called Comic Back Issue, where I review some of the back issues that I own, and I review the comic, talk about some of the artwork inside of it, and just give my general thoughts about the comic. And so the first one that I want to start with is Detective Comics 575, Year 2, Part 1. And first of all, I just want to talk about the cover. I really like Alan Davis's artwork. He's one of my favorite Batman artists. He's probably not my top favorite, but he's definitely would be in the top 5 for sure. And this cover I think is really effective, and it's kind of like one of those less is more type approaches. Just have Batman holding the gun. So that detail kind of grabs you right off the bat because, Batman has always been against guns. He never uses guns. So when you see this cover, you kind of wonder, well, why is he using that gun? What does he have that gun for? And, if Batman really pops out against that orange background with the yellow sun. Also, I really like the shadow of the bat in behind the logo of the Detective Comics. I think that looks really good. And then here we are with the story here, Batman Year 2 by Mike W. Barr, Alan Davis, and Paul Neary. Chapter 1, Fear the Reaper. Again, some more great artwork by Alan Davis. Really like that little collage he's done there. Looks really good. Really like that. And then, so our story starts off with Commissioner Gordon, who's been, newly appointed commissioner. So if you've read Batman Year 1, this one is a sequel to it. He is the newly appointed commissioner, and this is the second year of Batman's career. So he's being interviewed about Batman and how Batman, operates, in the city, and what is his relationship with the police department. And he's being compared to the Reaper, who was an earlier vigilante who existed in Gotham City 20 years prior. And but the Reaper is like the opposite of Batman, where Batman has a no-kill rule. The Reaper just kills whoever. He kills criminals. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit. He's very much like the Punisher that way. He'll just kill a criminal. So ideologically, he's Batman's opposite. Where Batman has a no-kill rule, he just has an absolute kill rule where he will kill all criminals no matter whatever crime. It's just one sentence for all. And then as the interview is going on, we move over to Batman confronting some crooks inside of a warehouse. And they have some stolen goods in there, and then they think that Batman wouldn't take notice of them because their crime is too small. But of course, as everyone knows who reads Batman comics, no crime is too small for Batman. And then now this is kind of an important part of the story here. This page is kind of important because it kind of sets something up. It kind of sets up Batman's attitude towards guns. As you can see, the punks say, don't panic, we've got guns. And Batman says, guns. If you put your faith in those, you've already lost. And so he takes out the punks. They realize the guns are useless. And then Batman leaves them there for the police to come clean up. And then he takes off into the night. Now, this is kind of important because later on you're going to see there's going to be part of this. There's something in the story that doesn't make sense in Batman Year 2. And never did make sense no matter how many times I've read this story. So, and then, introduced into the story is Rachel Caspian and her father, Judson Caspian. And then we realize that, her dad has just returned home after being away from Gotham for many years. And then we realize that we're revealed that Rachel Caspian is friends with Dr. Leslie Thompkins. And then now they're out on a dinner date with Bruce Wayne, and then, she's discussing why she wants to get into charity work because she feels like she's very concerned about the evil with the world. And so Bruce Wayne can, really relate to that. And then next we see Bruce Wayne bringing her home, and he asks her out on a date. And she rejects his advance because she tells him she's taking, her vows. And he wants to know what vows are those, and she tells him she is taking her final vows to become a nun. So, like Bruce Wayne, she has, she's been affected by evil in the world, and she's going to deal with it by becoming a nun. So they kind of have that similarity between the two characters. And then later in the story, it's revealed that Rachel Caspian's father is actually the Reaper. And so he's returned to Gotham, and he's gonna, he's gonna go pick up his old trade again, as he sees that Gotham has, just turned into, a cesspool of crime and corruption. And so we see right off the bat some, some hooligans. They're going to do something bad to this woman. And then the Reaper confronts him, and the Reaper, he's not like Batman. He doesn't screw around. He just kills him right off the bat. And he has, a few different ways. He got the scythes, and then he also has guns hidden inside those weapons that he can use. So he's like the total opposite of Batman. Batman doesn't use guns, but, this guy uses guns. Batman doesn't kill. This guy kills. He's quite like, he's like a evil mirror image of Batman. Like, he's like what Batman would have been if Batman had crossed those lines. So Batman learns of the murders. He tracks down the Reaper. And just before the Reaper's going to take out this prostitute, Batman confronts the Reaper, and they square off. And I just want to take a moment to actually talk about the design of the Reaper. Now, this version of the Reaper, he's like now, there was an earlier Reaper in DC Comics many, many years ago, so this is like another version of the Reaper in DC Comics. And I just want to talk about Alan Davis designed the Reaper, this version here, and I really like Alan Davis's design. I really love the design of the Reaper and his red leather armor. I really think he looks like a very formidable opponent to Batman, and I like how Alan Davis, drew him taller than Batman, so he looks very menacing and imposing. Like, he looks like a very, awesome foe for Batman to take on. And so Batman and him proceed to fight. Batman starts fighting him, and then he realizes that he was being faked out, that the Reaper was just getting a look at his fighting style, and now the Reaper knows what Batman has, and he's not afraid. And the Reaper then proceeds to hand Batman his head, like he just pounds Batman. And then Batman, as you can see, just barely escapes with his life to get away from the Reaper. Now, he gets back to the mansion just barely. He gets patched up by Alfred. Now, at the end of the story this is something in the story that doesn't make sense. Now, no matter how many times I've read the story, it never does make sense. So he barely escapes, but he decides to take up the weapon that killed his parents. He still has it, and he decides that he's going to use it. And why he would pick that weapon, I don't know. Why this event would make him decide to use a gun. So I've read in places that this story, Batman Year 2, is supposed to explain why Batman doesn't use guns, which I never really got and always thought was redundant. Because to me, the reason why Batman doesn't like guns and has never used guns and hates guns is because basically his parents were murdered by a gun, and that's why he doesn't like guns. So that's the reason. Like, the reason doesn't need to be explained in a story of why Batman doesn't use guns, because we know why. His parents were murdered by a gun. That's why Batman doesn't use guns. And he, earlier in the comic, were shown when he, tells the punks, hey, if you put your faith in those guns, then you've already lost. We're already shown his attitude towards guns. So I don't really get why after one defeat with the Reaper, Batman would just decide, well, I'm gonna go down on their terms, I'm gonna sink on their level and use a gun and help take out to give me an advantage to take out the Reaper. Like, what is he gonna do with this gun? Batman doesn't kill, so he's not gonna shoot the Reaper. So, like, Batman using a gun in the story doesn't make any sense. And I think it hurts the story. What would have been, potentially a much better story. So that's my thoughts on the first issue of, the 4 parts of the story, Batman Year 2. And I'll be doing, I'm going to be doing all 4 parts. So join me for part 2 when I talk about that comic. And, let me know in the comment sections what you thought of this. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And I will see you at the next one.